Good morning. This is the last day of the 2024 Verve Cup Offshore Regatta, and here's the current satellite picture. That low pressure upper low that's been moving across the Great Lakes is still working its way to the east and southeast. You can see a pretty clear circulation moving across the northern part of the lower peninsula of Michigan and into northern Lake Huron now, but it is shifting out to the east and starting to clear away. On the surface weather map, we're uh, still seeing the gradient across the lakes associated with that. You can see the surface load well out to the east now, and we have a trough extending down across Michigan. It's a surface reflection of that upper level high, but the northwest flow indicated by the isobars here, oriented northwest to southeast, is still present. But as the day progresses, that low pressure moves out to the east, as I mentioned, and we do start to see the gradient begin to weaken. The high moves down into southern Illinois. You see the isobars opening up across Lake Michigan. And then by this evening, it's quite a bit lighter as the high pressure actually moves a little bit closer to Chicago. So as the day goes on, our northwest gradient wind will slowly start to diminish. And there does come a point, I think, this afternoon where it may ease enough to allow a transition to a lake breeze to occur. It's going to be a close call, a knife's edge, and whether or not that happens before racing is done for the day is still in question. In fact, I have the wind table showing it around mid-afternoon, right around 3 o'clock. So it's right in the end of the day period there. So um, it could be an interesting finish if that northwesterly drops out sooner and the lake breeze is actually to come around. Otherwise, I think most of the racing is still going to occur in northwest winds. Uh, Going down to the high resolution model here, you get down to Chicago, um, we see that the time here, we go. This is the time, 9 o'clock this morning. We see that northwest wind again, just like yesterday, it's light over the land where the cold, sorry, I'm in Barcelona. People are dumping their garbage outside. Um, the light air over northern Illinois there, you can see the uh, that's wind is decoupled. The land cools overnight and it stops the mixing of the gradient down to the surface. So we get that lighter breeze. But out over the lake, where the lake water is still warm, the wind is still pumping along nicely. As the morning comes up, the sun starts to heat the land a bit, and we start to see the wind pick up over the land where the mixing increases, and there's sort of an adjustment period. This is noon time here, where the land does start to fill out. So there may be some puffs of breeze coming off the shore here this morning that could go up into the mid-teens at times. But I think generally speaking, we're going to see the wind just pick up for a little while as that mixing increases, and then the gradient easing sort of takes over, and we see the wind really starting to drop out here. This is 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and then 3 o'clock this afternoon. And this is that time period where we might start to see a lake breeze try to develop. A little bit of a battle perhaps between the thermal component, which is trying to bring the wind onshore from the east, and that remaining gradient component, which is still from the northwest. And then, as I said here, in the latter part of the afternoon, 3, 4 o'clock here, we could actually see that lake breeze get going. It won't be a particularly strong lake breeze if it does happen, but it's going to be that transition period, whether or not that happens during the last bit of racing today, that you need to keep an eye out for. So what you're likely to see is the breeze picking up this morning, generally from a sort of west-northwest direction. As it eases off, it's probably going to trend to the right and become more northwest. And then if anything, it'll rotate through the north and then to the east in the early afternoon if that lake breeze is able to take hold. So this is what it looks like in the forecast table. I've got northwest winds here in the morning until early afternoon, and sometime around that 2, 3 o'clock time period is where we might start to see some kind of a transition occurring with the lake breeze. Again, this is not a sure thing, and the timing could be different. If for some reason this gradient drops out faster than what I have here, then start looking for the lake breeze earlier. Alternatively, if it's a little bit windier than indicated here in the morning because the northwest wind is stronger still, then the chances of that lake breeze getting pushed later in the afternoon or perhaps not even appearing at all increase. But either way, there will be a great decrease in the wind for the later part of the afternoon. So the first race of the day will probably be the windiest, and then the later race probably will be the lightest one and most variable. So other than that, it's going to be a beautiful day out there today. Still some clouds may develop on shore and try to move out, but I don't right now. I don't. And if they do, there could be a shower, but right now I think that it's pretty unlikely that we'll see that. I think it'll remain mostly sunny, just a few fair weather cumulus developing onshore, trying to push out, but staying on the lake shore and inland this afternoon. Have a good one.